Welcome to the presentation about the computer science graduation requirement. I am Robert Van Dyke, the Assistant Director for the Office of Career and Technical Education, and I'm here to discuss the computer science graduation requirement with you all. The computer science graduation requirement falls under the Office of Career and Technical Education. Computer science and technology is now computer science, IT, and technology education, or using the acronym CSIT. CTE manages CSIT content through the K-12 North Carolina Computer Science Standard Course of Study, as well as the CTE Career Pathways in grades 6 through 12. The General Assembly amended General Statute 115C-81.90, titled Computer Science Overview, to include a computer science graduation requirement and a requirement for middle schools to offer an Introduction to Computer Science course. So the amendment required the State Board of Education to include in the standard course of study a graduation requirement around computer science component. So the first part of this amendment requires that all PSUs offer an elective Introduction to Computer Science course that surveys the field of computer science. The other part of this amendment is the graduation requirement that for incoming 9th grade students starting in school year 2024, they would have to obtain at least 1 credit of computer science to graduate from high school. This is part of a plan to make sure that all of our students are ready for whatever comes next upon their post-secondary plans. So it is required to be in person when appropriate, but there is an option to do remote courses that would fall under your existing plans, part of Part 11, Article 16 of also this chapter, which usually comes through the North Carolina Virtual Public School or other options through other approved methods for virtual education. The Department of Public Instruction first published a list of high school courses that would meet the graduation requirement by November 1st, 2023. Later in this presentation, we'll show you where the list houses on the Department of Public Instruction. We also published in January 2024 the list of middle grades elective computer science courses that would satisfy the graduation requirement. There is also a waiver process for PSUs to waive out of offering the graduation requirement for school years 24-25 and 25-26, so that way they could build their capacity to be able to offer it to incoming 9th grade students fully statewide in 2026-27 school year. The courses were initially developed to be able to provide a plethora of options for students to be able to obtain the graduation requirement based on interest. So the list was created through a 3-step process to ensure that we provided the maximum number of options for students to be able to satisfy the graduation requirement. The first step was to really define what is computer science in North Carolina. So the Office of Career and Technical Education researched what is computer science from over 35 different sources and developed a draft definition. We gained feedback from business and industry leaders, post-secondary institutions, curriculum vendors, and community partner associations to really give us some really insightful and thoughtful feedback on this definition. We then composed a final definition and then went back and also got some more feedback before we approved what is the definition of computer science education for North Carolina. In North Carolina, Computer science is a content area focused on the understanding and creation of information and technological systems to be a digital age learner. As part of a computer science pathway of study, students can experience computing systems and applications, networks and the internet, data analytics, programs and algorithms, the impacts of technology, STEM, information processing, design thinking, engineering and advanced manufacturing, artificial intelligence and robotics, and cybersecurity and privacy. It is with this definition that we used to really look at what is computer science to understand how we can provide a high quality education that meets multiple career interests for students to be able to offer the courses to satisfy the graduation requirement. So we took the 2023-2024 Master Course Code list with that definition in mind and identified any course that aligned with it. The initial list was of 156 high school courses and 23 middle school courses. This initial list was then refined even further to really look at the principles outlined in General Statute 115C. And the General Assembly called out specifically looking at technology as well as computer systems and applications, networks and the internet, data analytics, programming and algorithms, and the impacts of technology. So we took that list, that initial list of courses, and dug into the standards and content of those courses and if a course met a threshold, we included it on the list. That threshold is that 80% or more of that course must focus on 3 or more of the computer science principles above as identified by industry as well as the General Assembly. And so it took a while to review that list, but the final list that was approved by the State Board of Education was 82 courses, with 48 of them being a high school course, 12 of them being college or career and college promise courses, and 22 local course options that are offered by PSUs. On the list, 6 of the high school level courses are eligible to be offered at the middle school level, similar to how we offer Math 1 and other options to middle school students. The draft middle school elective course offering list did the same process, and 23 courses were identified and approved in February 2024 by the State Board of Education. An annual update of the list will be done in the fall. Requests need to be received by the Office of Career and Technical Education by August 1st of each year. A review will determine if the eligible course meets at least the 80% of the course, focusing on 3 or more of the computer science principles. If it does, it'll be presented to the State Board of Education. An updated list will be presented and approved for that following school year. Approved lists can be found on the DPI website by following the QR code or this short bit.ly link, and you can see the list of courses that are available for students to be able to use to satisfy the graduation requirement. The amendment to the general statute also offered a waiver process for PSUs to be able to build up the capacity to provide these courses to students in their district. And so by July 1st of each of the school years, 24-25 and 25-26, a PSU must submit a waiver that states that they will not be offering the graduation requirement for students in 24-25 or 25-26, and the introduction to a computer science elective middle school course in 25-26. So this waives the requirement for that year's incoming 9th grade students, and then they're able to focus on providing those courses. All North Carolina students starting in 9th grade in school year 26-27 must start fulfilling the computer science graduation requirement. The waiver process for 25-26. There'll be a digital notification form that'll be available on the computer science website starting in spring 2025. It'll also be emailed out to superintendents and chief academic officers, and they must complete and sign electronically. They will have until July 1st, 2025 to submit that waiver. This will waive the graduation requirement for incoming 9th grade students for 25-26. It'll also waive the graduation requirement for offering the Introduction to Computer Science Middle School elective for 25-26. Just please keep in mind that all North Carolina students starting in school year 25-26, incoming 9th grade students for 26-27 must meet the graduation requirement as defined by the law. As we look at implementation practices on offering the graduation requirement for students, we want to highlight some curriculum partners that we have worked with to really help build out some high quality computer science education that students can, or that districts can use with their students to be able to offer the graduation requirement. So potential implementation plans. The graduation plan in the SIS will not be available in 26-27 regardless of when a district waived in or out of the graduation requirement. So the graduation plan will be updated for 26-27, and courses that are on the list will automatically trigger starting with that plan. PSUs will have between 4 or 6 years, depending upon their plan, to have students complete the requirement. PSUs must offer the elective course starting 25-26 unless waived out. We do want to ask that all staff that has the opportunity to engage with students and help them plan out course of studies to encourage concentrator status with these courses to help meet that part of CTE concentrator status that is required by federal law, as well as preparing them for their course of study, programs of study and course of study. So if we look at a potential outline of how a student can use their options to be able to satisfy the intent of the law. So middle school interelectives that a PSU can offer on the middle grades level, they can offer the multiple of the approved introductory courses, so that way students have many different options to get a survey of computer science to really start to see what type of computer science related career pathway they would like to pursue in high school. A district may also offer any of those 6 high school level courses in their middle school to be able to satisfy the graduation requirement. If a PSU offers any of those 6 high school level courses to their middle grade students, they would be able to satisfy that high school graduation requirement in middle school, but it would not count towards their high school GPA. There are also options in the high school level for the graduation requirement to offer multiple of those approved high school level courses to be able to satisfy the graduation requirement based on interest. Again, we also encourage students, if they are pursuing anything within those career pathways, to take one of those concentrator courses or other courses to be able to extend their learning. So an example for our computer science pathway, if you have a student that's really interested in the study of computer science, you can offer any of the computer science discoveries courses in the middle grades area to be able to satisfy the graduation requirement. If your PSU does want to offer any of the 6 high school graduation or high school courses that would satisfy the graduation requirement in the middle school, you could then offer Introduction to Computer Science or Introduction to Data Science to your middle grade students that would satisfy that graduation requirement. In high school, students would then be able to have the opportunity to take any of these courses if offered to be able to satisfy that graduation requirement if they did not in the middle school based on that graduation offering of those high school courses. This would be an example of a design pathway. A student who are interested in design, they could take a multitude of different type of the introduction elective courses if offered. A school district could then also offer any of those 6 high school courses that would satisfy the graduation requirement in middle school, specifically 3D modeling and animation 1 or coding and Minecraft expert coding, if they so choose. But then also the graduation requirement would then be able to take any of these design-based CCP courses or CTE courses as well. This would be an example of a student that would be interested in engineering. You can see there's some engineering middle school courses. There's one of the 6 high school courses that can be used in middle school to satisfy the graduation requirement course, as well as a multitude of different engineering courses allowed on the high school side. If you have a student who's really into manufacturing and logistics, there's many different course offerings for middle school. There's some of those high school courses that can be used in middle school, as well as some high school graduation requirement courses as well. For programming, you can see there's multiple different types of courses from introduction to advanced to satisfy a student's ability to understand parts of the career pathway as well as meet their interest. So the Office of Career and Technical Education did receive funding from the North Carolina General Assembly to help provide K-12 computer science teachers with professional development. All of that series of professional development will be implemented this fall, as well as a majority of it will be implemented in spring 2025. Please keep a lookout on all of the communication channels just to see how we are supporting this implementation, as well as providing all computer science or all K-12 teachers computer science content throughout the spring. Thank you for your time to listen to this. Please let us know if you have any questions, and we appreciate all that you do for every student in North Carolina.